I came across a question on a joint pain group online recently, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it. The question was from someone who had total knee replacement, and they were suffering from a burning sensation just below the knee on the top of the leg. So, kneecap down here is where they're saying they're feeling the sensation. Um, I actually know what this feels like because I had a very similar thing, even though it was a different procedure. But because I had the tibial cervical osteotomy where they literally cut and moved this tibial tendon, um, it irritates the nerves that are in this area. So, in particular, there's an infrapatellar nerve that goes under this part of the tendon and in the knee, and it's part of a bigger group of nerves, but it gets easily irritated when you're getting any type of procedures done in that area. So that's basically for all of us having any knee procedures that can happen, but especially when you're having a lot of tissue cut or affected where people are really making a lot of impact to this part of your knee joint. um, and if you think about it, nerves are essentially how we feel pain anywhere. Um, Nerves are the sensory system that gives the pain signals to our brain. But the person mentioned in particular feeling a burning sensation. And most of the time, that is typically related to nerve irritation more than anything else. Um, it gets cut, it gets stretched, you're going to feel some nerve pain. And that can happen there. There's also various nerve bodies on the back of the knee. That's a lot of nerves actually function in the back of the knee. So a lot of people will feel a lot of pain from the back of the knee after procedures or before they get a really important procedure that they need to have done. They'll feel pain back there. But in this particular situation, it was the front lower part of the knee below the kneecap. Um, as far as treatments go, there's a lot of ways of treating it. I think one important thing for everyone that suffers from this stuff to remember and be mindful of is that time can fix a lot of this if you've just recently had procedures. This in particular person had a knee replacement in the last year. So a year feels like a long time, but with knee replacement or knee surgeries in general, a year is not a long time. I know a lot of doctors talk about a 3 to 6 month recovery period. um, that to me, that's just not realistic. Realistically, base like you start feeling normal again comes around a year, and then after that year, you start to really make good progression with health and recovery. That sounds like a long time, but the knee is a complicated joint. I think that that's a pretty normal thing. But if you are having nerve related pain issues and it's pretty clear which you need to go talk to a doctor and see if you can get evaluated for, because there's also other things, arthritic conditions, rheumatism, stuff like that, that could cause similar symptoms, but often it's nerve related. But once you get evaluated, there are options. There's steroidal treatments that can help reduce inflammation in an area long enough to let the nerves calm down. There's more nerve direct treatments, such as you can get a nerve ablation or a nerve block essentially put in certain areas that block pain recepting nerves, um, so you don't feel that. You obviously don't want those on functional nerves because there's functional nerves and there's sensory nerves. Functional nerves, if they're blocked, that means all of a sudden you can't use a certain body part the same way because nerves are what can control all this stuff. But sensory nerves are often ablated or blocked in certain ways to give a lot of pain relief. I've had a few different nerve ablation procedures with some help. It helps some people, it doesn't help other people. There's not a clear reason why it helps some people versus others. Some people are just less responsive or more responsive to nerve treatments. So I think that's a big part of it. But some healthy, natural ways to try to help with this, which I think is really under considered. Um, and this is something I wanted to talk about in upcoming videos anyway, is non inflammatory diets. So if you think about pain from a big big picture perspective, pain is a manifestation of inflammation irritating different parts of the body. And inflammation, you hear that word, you think swelling, you think you're going to see puffiness, things like that. Inflammation is not always visible, it's deep inside. It creates areas of the body where cytokines can form and go into battle with each other and cause major storms, which are cytokines are normally health agents that kind of work their way towards parts of the body to heal things. But when you have too much damage or something inside that's degenerated, your body will force too many of those agents into the area, and then they essentially create a storm or a battle of each other, which creates a heavier inflammatory environment. And that is a big problem all by itself. Nutrition can be a huge key to this. I know sometimes that can sound a little woo woo and things like that, but it's absolutely true and proven and has been tested through plenty of scientific evidence. If you cut out inflammatory foods, often when I say that, I'm referring to things like dairy, gluten, wheat, processed sugars are a huge one. People have amazing success with cutting those things out and feeling major recovery when they do that kind of stuff. Um, Another thing is remembering light movements to keep lubrication and fluid and to kind of force some of the additional fluids out of a certain area that you don't want there can always be good. You obviously need to talk to your doctor and not push through things that are causing extra damage. That's when, if you're doing an activity and you feel stabbing, sharp pains, um, but a little bit of pain does not mean something's always going wrong. Sometimes you got to work through something and let your body have time to heal. But a healthy nutritional method can be an easy way to help with some of these issues, for something more less invasive. As far as supplements go, there's plenty of supplements on the market that can help with the recovery of nerves, with tendons and ligaments. I think the science is not terribly amazing on that, but there definitely is some benefit if it's taken the correct way. Um, N-acetylcysteine, precursor to glutathione in the body, is an amazing thing that can help. It's a super antioxidant. It can help the immune system in general, which then can help with inflammatory responses throughout the body. Glucosamine and chondroitin, everyone knows those as building blocks for tendons and ligaments and things of that nature. Calcium, the proper types of calcium can help with bone health. Um, Probiotics, having good bacteria properly adjusted in the body, is another huge thing that we underestimate. And we don't get this through food in modern society. Foods are completely deficient in proper nutrients to reach these levels, which is why you have to really tailor your diet and nutrition supplement plan to help if you want to reduce pain through natural methods. But as some other ways that are not so natural, if it's more serious and you really need to get it taken care of, talk to a doctor, talk about steroid applications and moderation, nerve blocking methods in moderation. These all can treat it long enough to let something recover, as long as it doesn't become a permanent thing for you. It's just part of the recovery process sometimes, but nerves are damaged all the time during different surgeries. And I think it surprises people. And that's when they don't realize that they have. Why do you still have pain after a surgery when you're really hoping you were going to be pain free, or you were hoping your recovery was going to go smooth and everything else was going to just make it on through? Um, Big on the anti inflammatory diet. I really think you need to focus on that. So, question to anyone watching: if you've dealt with any of this stuff, if you have similar symptoms or pain in weird ways that you didn't expect after a surgery or leading up to a surgery, please comment and share those with me. I would love to hear from you and talk more about what your experience has been. Every experience is important, and I'll follow up with anything anyone brings to the community to talk about. So subscribe to the page if you would, if you find this interesting and you want to hear more, and comment so we can have a further dialogue on whatever you may be experiencing, and I'll share my situations and perspective as well. And I look forward to talking to you next time.